grass. No one knew for certain when it had started to grow. Farmers assumed that, like the green grass outside the deserted and shuttered death camp, the black grass had come up when the days turned warm in late March. Like its green cousin, the black grass went through a number of color changes, starting from ash gray, moving through a smoky gray, and a luxuriant charcoal gray, and finally to a deep coal black. In mid-April, when this grass had grown tall, farmers passing by the double-tiered barbed wire fence finally noticed. They were surprised, but they didn't give it much thought. It was, after all, a Jewish problem. But around the beginning of May, the farmers started to worry when the black grass started growing thick and full in ever-expanding circles outward from the camp. Their worry turned to panic when their cows started to graze on this grass and the milk turned black. The black milk smelled and tasted like the milk their cows had always produced, but when they tried to sell it, nobody wanted to buy this Jewish milk, as it came to be called. When they tried to make cheese from it, the curds were large and dark gray, and again, no one wanted to eat the Jewish cheese. With each sunrise, there was more black grass and less green. Farmers were becoming concerned that their potato fields, now beginning to sprout vulnerable light green leaves, might turn black and yield black potatoes. Who would buy Jewish potatoes? A group of farmers sought the advice of their elderly priest, who, 25 years ago, had served as their parish priest as World War II was ending. After some deliberation, he pronounced that this mischief was the work of dead Jews. And as a cure, he proposed a holy procession around the camp on the following Sunday. He insisted that every movable statue, picture, and holy artifact of the church, including the gold-plated cross and chalice, be carried in the procession. That Sunday morning, an unusually large group of farmers attended church. They were surprised to find that they were joined by a small crowd of young men and women who usually did not attend Mass. They had heard their parents speak about Jews, but they had never met any. Despite this, these young people brought with them hand-painted signs that read, "Kill the Jews," and "Jews, get out." Parent parishioners were proud that their grown children had decided to join them and hoped that they would come to Mass once again the following Sunday. The procession was led by two young boys who carried between them a copper kettle filled with holy water. The priest followed behind, dipping his fingers in the water and sprinkling it left and right onto the black grass on either side of the muddy dirt road. Two older boys followed the priest, each swinging a silver censer issuing blue smoke, and behind them walked two altar boys, sounding their bells. As the procession moved along the road toward the camp, the sound of the bells attracted the attention of grazing cows in the nearby fields. And soon the cows, too, had joined the procession. The priest led them all 2 times around the camp, although most of the cows had lost interest before the first circuit had been completed. Instead, they grazed contentedly on the tall, black grass growing near the camp fence. At the start of the second circuit, one of the boys holding the kettle of holy water tripped and the water spilled. The procession came to a halt. The priest, after administering a few swift kicks to the fallen boy, turned to the marchers and implored them to raise the holy objects higher toward the sky and recite the Hail Mary louder. Thus, despite the accident, the second circuit was completed with enthusiasm and great hope. The next morning, to everyone's disappointment, the circle of black grass had grown larger and more lush. Even more ominous were small circles of black grass that had appeared in the midst of previously green grass, downwind from the tall black chimney that stood on the east side of the camp. The police were consulted. They agreed that Jews must be causing trouble. The only snag was that, according to official registrations, Jews did not live in Kaminsky Parish. The police assured the farmers that they would search diligently for Jews who must be in hiding somewhere. However, none were found. The local priest also decided to call on his bishop, who agreed that the blackgrass was caused by the devilish work of dead Jews. In his opinion, however, this problem could not be solved by a simple procession. After all, he pointed out, the Jews had successfully resisted the church for 2,000 years. Clearly, Jews were blaming their country for wartime atrocities. He insisted, however, that this blame was misplaced. German Protestant soldiers, not Catholics, had been in charge of the camp. Consequently, if the grass was going to turn black, it should do so in Protestant countries. The bishop suggested that to clear up this misunderstanding, the church should hold a disputation of the type it had sponsored in the Middle Ages. In addition to himself, it should include individuals who had helped inmates escape from the camp, smuggled in food or medicine, or sabotaged transports during the war, as well as people who had helped Jewish partisans when they attacked the camp garrison at the end of the war. It was not clear who would represent the Jewish side in this disputation. A week later, the priest informed the bishop that he had been unable to locate anyone who had helped the Jews, removing the essential element of the disputation. Instead, the bishop promised that he would order monks at the nearby monastery to pray to the Holy Virgin for the return of the green grass, offering full confidence that this would work. Shortly thereafter, local farmers and residents from the small nearby town of Zdol decided to take matters into their own hands. The following Sunday morning, they gathered outside the camp with wire cutters, sledgehammers, shovels, and pitchforks. They broke open the gates to the camp and stormed inside, demolishing the rotting wooden barracks, including the building that had housed the gas chambers. Only the adjacent tall brick chimney of the crematorium remained standing.